Hey friends, it's me and I'm back with a video demonstrating the Harley Benton CST24. So yeah, you really enjoyed the unboxing the other day, and since then I have actually had a little bit of a play around with this guitar, and you'll probably note that the truss rod cover plate is off of it, and also so is the back plate, and that's because I've given it a full setup. So in short, the springs at the back here were far too tight, meaning that the trem was pulled right against the body. Now there may well have been a reason for that, which was to push these tail pieces back a little bit, because I've also done a full setup on the guitar, and that includes the intonation. And you'll see that on the first and fourth string that these springs are really tight. That's because I've had to tighten them right the way back onto the tightness of the spring, and it's really pinched in there because the trem just seems to be just a touch too far forward. So I've done the best I can. It is pretty much intonated, which is good. I also worked out that the trem bar tightener or tensioner is in underneath the back here. I'm not going to pull it down because I don't want to put it out of tune, but I want to give you some ideas of the tones. I have gone back to using the orange Dark Terror because most people prefer it. I did do another demo on the Harley Benton single cut 450 through the software, but it doesn't really give you the feel that a real live amp gives you. So I'm going to go back through the Dark Terror. And what I have done is I've revisited the riff from my comparison video where I compared the PRS SE24 with the blonde neck to my PRS SE Torero, which is the double humbucker, and the Floyd Rose PRS SE from Korea, and also to Tiger, one of the fakes. And so what I've done is I've looked back on that video and relearned the riff from that so that I can play you the same on this, which is trying to be similar to those guitars, and then hopefully you can make a comparison. But the likelihood is I will probably do another comparison video with those guitars, or at least a couple of them, to show you what this sounds like. My first impressions on this, in terms of the setup, I've lowered the action somewhat because I had to when the trem sits up and now floats and goes both ways. It also raised the action somewhat. So I've lowered the tail, the bridge saddles, and I've also intonated it. I have retensioned the springs at the back and straightened them up. The reason that this is off is because when I checked for neck relief, it turned out that this was completely set up wrong. It was completely flat out of the box, so there was no neck relief. So I've given it a little half turn, more than a quarter turn, and I've got it so that now we do have just the right amount of relief on this neck. And I have to say that the tone of the guitar unplugged, which you probably can't hear, is absolutely beautiful. However, I am not as impressed with these Roswell pickups as I was on the SC450, the Les Paul copy. And you'll see why. I think they're a little bit muddy. Also, I'm not sure, but I'll see what you think in the comments down below, if this is a coil split or actually a coil tap. The reason I say that is because even on the distorted tone, when you pull it up for whatever it is, split or tap, it doesn't add that single coil hum or buzz which you normally get with a coil split. So I think this may actually be a coil tap switch, but I'll let you guys decide. So I'm going to have a little playthrough in just a moment, and then I'll give you my first impressions of this guitar. As I say, I'm going to go over that same riff a few times. I'll work from clean on the bridge pickup, then the two together, and then the neck pickup, and I'll do the same with it coil split or tapped, and then I'll just crunch it up a bit, and then finally we'll go for the full-on distorted tone. I'm not changing anything on the amp, I'm just using the volume of the guitar, which is any good responding PRS style guitar should be able to give you the clean tone right the way through to distorted, all on the same setting on a valve amp anyway. So we'll go over and do that without further ado.
One man, one channel, one desire for truth about quality guitars. China Guitar Sceptic.
Don't know where that's coming from. Proximity effect with that cable, I think. That's weird. Not had that issue before. I'm going to move away a touch from that cable. Seems to be giving me some sort of a weird. Okay, this is the crunch tone. Let's do that one again. That last one was not particularly well played, sorry. Full on distorted. So there it is. And I have to say that this guitar really does sound very, very nice indeed, but it sounds a little muddy to me. I do find these pickups somewhat less clear than the Roswells on the SC450. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. As always, there is a little bit of a playthrough demo that I recorded. I wrote a piece to show you for those of you that make it to the end of the video. So you'll be able to see what this sounds like in context. I wrote a piece, there's a stereo pair of rhythm guitars. I'll show you the little riff I came up with. And that'll be at the end of the video, and there's a couple of guitars on it, and I also play the new Harley Benton bass on the track, so hopefully a bit of fun for you there. So in terms of the value for money, you can't go wrong with these Harley Bentons so far. And when I say so far, I've now had an SG style, I've had the HB35, which was the 335 style. I've had a single cut, which is the Les Paul style. I've had a bass, and that's a modern bass style. I'm not quite sure what make that's similar to. I'm sure somebody will tell me. I'm not really a bass player. And now I've had this, which is the PRS clone. I've still got, obviously, a Strat and a Telly to think about trying out with Harley Benton, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. You let me know in the comments down below, because I kind of feel like I'm becoming a bit of an ambassador for Harley Benton. But really, the reason that I've shown these guitars is to make my point. I know this one's made in Vietnam, but it was to make the point about cheap and value guitars versus the Chinese fakes, which you all know that I'm completely against. And I really wanted to show you that you can get cheap, reasonable project style guitars that you can do up and do some work to. I certainly think that the pickups on this I may well change out. And it just goes to show you that these are a much better bet than going for the fake guitars that the Chinese are making with the trademark infringements on the headstocks and all of the gubbins that goes with that. What's more, so far I've found the Bentons to be better set up, better quality controlled. Admittedly, this one took quite a setup, because out of the box it really needed the intonation doing, it needed the action, it needed the truss rod adjustment, it needed the springs adjusted. I haven't opened her up yet to find out whether they've got the small pots inside, but I suspect that it's pretty likely that they will have, given that the SC450 had them. But we will see in good time. But in terms of not infringing trademarks with Chinese fakes, these are a really good alternative, folks. And you can get them shipped to the States relatively cheaply. I think it's around 20 to 30 US dollars shipping on these to get them to the USA. And they're usually there within 3 to 5 days. All of the orders that I've made to the UK have come in 2 to 3 days. And they've been really well packaged. I think Thomann have got it just right at this really low end, budget end of the market. And I hope that they don't go too far with the custom ideas that they've been having, because I really feel that Bentons fill this bottom end of the market. And if they start raising the price on some of these, I think people aren't going to have such a good alternative to the fakes. But for now, thanks very much as always for watching. If you've enjoyed this video and you enjoy my content, please subscribe and click the bell icon to get notifications when I've got a new video coming out. And I will be back really soon with the shielding demo, I think on the SC450, and then the bass playthrough. And I will come back and do a comparison video between this and the other PRS type guitars. And on that video, I will try to remember to do a little bit of video of the inside. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll include a shot of the inside of this right here. So there you go. You know if this has got small pots on it, and I don't yet, but I soon will. So I hope you've enjoyed this, folks. I'll be back really soon with the next video. In the meantime, you take good care.